Now, for more on that, we have with us Dr. Bong Young-shik from the Yonsei Institute for North Korean Studies. It's good to have you with us on the show back again.
Happy to be here again.
Pompeo has been hinting for a few days now that a meeting with a senior North Korean official would be happening sometime this week. And now we've got confirmation, finally, that it's going to be Kim Yong-chol, that's a North Korean senior official who's been Kim Jong-un's right-hand man so far when it comes to dealing with the United States. What does this tell us?
Well, there was a speculation that Kim Yong-chol might have been replaced by somebody else to represent the North Korean leadership in the scheduled meeting with the Secretary Mike Pompeo. For instance, Supreme Leader's sister Kim Yong-chol. I believe that this will be kind of a last opportunity or another opportunity given to Mr. Kim Yong-chol by Supreme Leader of North Korea, Mr. Kim Jong-un, to make a breakthrough with the United States in terms of getting the concrete result in favor of easing existing economic sanctions and other measures that are conducive to the realization of North Korea's central policy, which is simultaneous pursuit of nuclear weapon development and economic development. If the talks do not go well, then the fate of Kim Yong-chol as a main appointment of the Kim Jong-un government of North Korea might be in jeopardy. Because Kim Yong-chol himself is not a Korea diplomat or expert on nuclear affairs. Kim Yong-chol's main merit is that he has been deeply involved in the negotiation with the United States on nuclear missile program so far. But if Kim Yong-chol's capital is estimated by the Supreme Leadership not sufficient or no longer effective, then we cannot rule out the possibility that he will be replaced as a main appointment to negotiate with the United States.
Do you think there can be any breakthroughs in the denuclearization negotiations during this meeting? I mean, what outcomes can they reasonably reach?
Well, it's primarily dependent upon what kind of package Mr. Kim Yong-chol is going to carry with him and propose to the Trump administration in the meeting. The attractiveness and the size of the package provided by North Korean delegation will determine the success or failure of this meeting between Washington and Pyongyang. But I'm slightly cautious to predict any breakthrough coming out of this meeting because there is no sign that North Korean leadership has sufficiently and decidedly departed from its long-standing policy line, which is salami tactics. North Korean leadership is still unwilling to make any major concessions on the nuclear and missile programs, but still insisting that the ball is in the court of the Trump administration to make major concessions, such as lifting economic sanctions. So I don't think North Korean delegation is prepared to provide a kind of a big present to the U.S. government that will help change the existing stance of the Trump administration, which is that unless North Korean government is going to take concrete measures of denuclearization in verifiable way, there will be no lifting of economic sanctions.
Of course, recently, which is quite startling as well, so a North Korean commentary, a North Korean state media carried a commentary by a foreign ministry official saying that North Koreans might even be prepared to carry on its nuclear program and at the same time as its economic development, carrying out the Pyeongjin policy, as they called it. How seriously should we take this threat, or is this just a bluff before they go into these negotiations this week?
I double-checked the source of this news, and it was made by a low-rank government official belonging to the Foreign Ministry of North Korean government, who's mainly in charge of research. The report was carried out by the Korean Central News Agency, the mouthpiece of the North Korean government, that the definition of the Pyeongjin policy, the simultaneous pursuit of nuclear weapon development and economic development, may be inevitably redefined if there will be no reciprocation from Washington. Judging from the facts that, first, it was a remark made by a rather low-rank government official in the foreign ministry, not one of those major government officials in the department. And two, it was rather ambiguously phrased. Means that North Korean government is not really ready to walk out of this negotiation room. Because North Koreans remember that when the personal letter carried by Mr. Kim Yong-chol, which threatened the Trump administration prior to the actual realization of the Singapore summit meeting in June, that if the United States would not change its long-standing policy toward North Korea with such a hostility, then it could not be ruled out that Pyongyang had to resume its missile and nuclear programs. After receiving the letter, according to the Washington Post reports, that President Trump ordered to cancel the scheduled summit meeting and issued now famous personal letter to the chairperson of the North Korea, Kim Jong-un. So I don't think North Korean government is ready to repeat such a gamble even before the meeting between Mr. Kim Yong-chol and Secretary Mike Pompeo is going to happen. If North Korea is going to actually going back to the nuclear weapon and missile developmental programs, then there must be very clear signs for North Korean leadership that no more talks, no more negotiation would be helpful. But I don't think North Korean government's strategic calculation has reached that point.
So that commentary was made by a lower level foreign ministry official from the North Korean side. But on the other side, Pompeo, the head of the foreign department side in the U.S., now he's pretty much straight out that that only denuclearization will lead to lifting of sanctions.
Verifiable denuclearization.
Sure. He said verification, if I quote here, is a prerequisite before any lifting of sanctions on North Korea. Do you think there is any room for negotiation on this, actually, though, with North Korea? And if not, how does North Korea have to negotiate then when they talk with the U.S.?
There's sufficient room for negotiation between Washington and Pyongyang because both sides may work on how to define verification of existing weapon programs and facilities inside North Korea. Where to start? What to begin with? Are you going to allow the inspection by experts and the U.S. government officials on which site? Yongbyon included? Or will it be just limited to Dongchangri or the Punggye nuclear test site? So there is a room for maneuvering for North Korean government officials to persuade Secretary Pompeo and other government officials in the United States in charge of denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula to make a positive first steps. But my concern is that the United States demand is far more than just North Korean government allowing verifiable and reliable inspections on those three sites, because it is believed that the majority of the nuclear and missile capabilities and facilities of North Korea exist outside those three test sites.
So there's going to be a lot for them to look for as well. Actually, for some expected this meeting to have little progress towards denuclearization. And actually, this meeting is about arranging details for a second TrumpKim summit, perhaps next year. Would you agree with some of this assessment that actually this is the Trump summit is perhaps more the key agenda for this meeting?
Absolutely. This meeting between Mr. Kim and Secretary Pompeo is a kind of preparatory step for the scheduled summit meeting, the second summit meeting between two top leaders of the countries. But depending upon the outcomes of this meeting between Secretary Pompeo and Vice President Kim Yong-chol, United States approach to the second summit meeting with North Korean leadership will be greatly changed. So it is up to North Korean government how much concessions Pyongyang is ready to make. in order to persuade the United States government to maintain meaningful engagement with North Korea. Because who knows, after the midterm election on the 6th of November in local time in the United States, if the President Trump thinks that he is no longer bound by the pressure of the midterm election, then he could do whatever he wants. He might continue to be rather softer and patient, more patient toward Pyongyang, and in terms of playing the waiting game, or President Trump would declare that I have more than enough time to Kim Jong-un and North Korean leadership, but they fail to demonstrate the genuine intention for denuclearization. They lost the opportunity. So I will go back to the old Trump, who declared that the little rocket man is on his suicide mission, and if North Korea is going to make grave mistakes, then there will be complete destruction of the country. So who knows which Donald Trump is going to appear after the midterm election on the 6th.
That's perhaps slightly concerning for your prediction, but let's try to be a little bit more positive. If we turn to what's happening on the Korean Peninsula right now, the two Koreas are actually carrying out various projects that they've promised that to do. For example, the inspection of waterways of the border estuaries of the Hangang and the Imjingang River, as well as the dismantling of the DMZ guard posts. That seemed to have be going well so far today. Both sides raising big yellow flags to make sure that neither sides get any misinterpretation of what's going on there. But then at the same time also, we see these South Koreans, the U.S. Joint military exercises which are restarting again. I mean, how does this all fit in? I mean, how important are these U.S. joint exercises? And is it a risk that could antagonize the North Koreans at this delicate time?
Well, we have to wait and see. But I think United States and South Korea are in very good cooperative relations, not to antagonize North Korean leadership prematurely. A good example is the decision by both sides to suspend the joint air exercise, Vigilant Ace. But the resumption of the marine exercise is to assure the concerned public in South Korea whether such measures intended to reduce the military tension across the demilitarized zone may hamper the military readiness of South Korea against any type of provocations or potential aggression from the North. So it is a delicate balancing between maintaining the line of communication and the spirit of negotiation with North Korea. As Secretary of Defense of the United States said that we decide to suspend the Vigilant Ace joint air exercise in order to give diplomacy still a chance to succeed. But at the same time, we need to alleviate the concern and fear among South Korean public whether we are making too much concessions in terms of deterrence against North Korean military threats too fast. So it is a political decision, but at the same time, it is very strategically useful steps in terms of giving us a chance to probe the true intentions of North Korean leadership, whether North Korean government is ready to work together to reduce military tension, regardless of progress of denuclearization or progress of building sustainable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula or lifting economic sanctions. But whether North Korean leadership is ready to take any small steps in the right direction to bring any measurable peace on the Korean Peninsula.
Well, yes, let's hope at least brings some reassurance that South Korea keeps its defense readiness while also trying to engage with North Korea as well. And that's where we have time for. Thank you for coming in as always, and it's always great to get your insights.
Thank you.